Learning English can be exciting, but it's not always easy. Every language learner makes mistakes along the way. But did you know that some mistakes are more common than others? Today we're going to explore 10 of the most common English mistakes people make, mistakes you can easily avoid. Imagine this: you're speaking English and suddenly you make a mistake. It's normal, right? But what if you make the same mistake over and over again? Don't worry, you're not alone. Many learners face the same challenges. The good news is, by knowing these mistakes, you can avoid them and speak English more confidently. In this video, we'll take a look at these common mistakes, learn why they happen, and give you simple tips to fix them. Whether you're just starting or have been learning English for a while, this video will help you improve and sound more natural. Ready to get started? Let's go! Mistake number 1. Using the wrong tense, present perfect versus past simple. One of the most common mistakes English learners make is using the wrong tense. But don't worry, you're not alone. Many learners get confused between present perfect and past simple. Let's look at the difference and how to use them correctly. Present perfect, have has plus past participle. We use the present perfect to talk about actions that started in the past and continue to the present, happened at an unspecified time in the past, but have a result in the present. For example, I have lived in this city for 5 years. This means I started living here 5 years ago, and I still live here now. She has visited Japan 3 times. She went to Japan at some point in the past, and now we know she's been there 3 times. Past simple, verb plus ed or irregular form. The past simple is used for actions that happened at a specific time in the past, and the action is finished. Don't have any connection to the present moment. For example, I lived in New York last year. I don't live there now, the action is finished. He visited his grandmother last weekend. This event happened at a specific time in the past, and it's over now. Let's look at some funny and dramatic examples. Example 1. The curious case of Liam's lost phone. Liam is looking for his phone, but his friend Sophia is a bit confused about which tense to use when talking about it. Sophia: Liam, have you lost your phone? Liam: No, I lost it yesterday. Sophia: But didn't you just say you have lost it this morning? Here's the problem. Sophia should have used past simple because Liam is talking about something that happened at a specific time yesterday. If she wants to talk about a result that still affects the present, she should use present perfect. Correct sentence: Liam, have you lost your phone? If it's about the phone being lost and we don't know when. Example 2. Sam's cake disaster. Imagine Sam tries to bake a cake for his birthday but forgets the ingredient. Now, he's telling his friend Zara about it. Sam: I have baked the cake yesterday. Zara: Wait, have baked? Sam: That's not right. Sam: What do you mean? I have baked it yesterday. Farah: No. If you're talking about yesterday, you should use past simple. Here, Sam is using present perfect incorrectly. He should use past simple because the action, baking the cake, happened at a specific time yesterday. Correct sentence: I baked the cake yesterday. The action is finished, and it's clear when it happened. How to avoid the mistake. Think about the time. If the action happened at a specific time, yesterday, last year, at 5 o'clock, use past simple. If the action is important to the present, but we don't know exactly when it happened, use present perfect. Look for keywords. For present perfect, use words like ever, never, already, yet, since, for. For past simple, use words like yesterday, last week, 2 days ago. A fun tip to remember. Think of present perfect as the I'm still feeling the effect tense. Example: I have eaten too much cake, and now I feel sick. Think of past simple as the it's over and done tense. Example: I ate too much cake, and it's all in the past. Now let's practice. Question: which tense would you use in these sentences? I visit my grandmother last Sunday. She alive in Paris for 3 years. We eat pizza already. They not finish their homework yet. Mistake number 2. Translating directly from your native language. This is a very common mistake. Sometimes, when we learn a new language, our brain automatically tries to translate sentences directly from our native language into the target language. The problem is that languages are different. They don't always follow the same rules. And when we translate directly, we often end up with sentences that don't sound right. Example 1. The confused conversation of Ali and Maya. Let's imagine Ali, who speaks Arabic, is learning English. He wants to say, I am hungry, I want to eat something. But, instead of using the correct English sentence, he tries to translate it directly from Arabic. Ali: I am hungry, I want to eat something. Now, Ali made a mistake because in Arabic, it's common to say, I am hungry, but in English we say, I am hungry. You can't directly translate word for word like that. Correct sentence: I am hungry, I want to eat something. Example 2. The misunderstood birthday invitation. Maya, a Spanish speaker, invites her friend Sarah to her birthday party. She says, Maya, do you want to come to my party to my birthday? In Spanish, it's normal to repeat the phrase, my birthday, like this: a mi cumpleaños, a mi fiesta. But in English, we don't need to repeat the words. Maya should just say, correct sentence: do you want to come to my birthday party? Why does this happen? When you translate directly from your native language, you might be making a mistake without even realizing it. Your brain is just trying to make sense of the sentence, but English and other languages don't always work the same way. For example, in French you might say je suis fatigué, literally, I am tired, but in English you must say I am tired. There's no need for a direct translation. In Russian, the structure might be I have 25 years instead of I am 25 years old in English. How to avoid the mistake. Focus on natural English sentence structure. Instead of translating word for word, try to think in English. This way, you'll start using the natural English structure rather than trying to fit your first language's rules into English. Listen to how native speakers speak. Watching movies, TV shows, or listening to podcasts in English can help you learn how native speakers phrase sentences. This will help you sound more natural and avoid translating from your native language. Practice speaking with others. The more you speak and hear English, the more you'll get used to the sentence structure. You'll start thinking in English, and the mistakes will become less frequent. A funny tip to remember: imagine you're trying to tell your friend that you feel excited, but you keep saying, "I am excitement," instead of, "I am excited." It might make your friend laugh. But don't worry, that's a normal mistake. Just remember, English loves its adjectives and doesn't need extra words like other languages. Now let's practice. Question: can you correct these sentences that were translated directly from another language? I have 20 years. This is a common mistake for Spanish speakers. I am knowing him for 5 years. This is a common mistake for learners of many languages. She is my friend since 2 years. A mistake that's common for French and German speakers. I am liking pizza. A mistake that can come from translating from other languages. Mistake number 3. Mispronouncing words, especially words with silent letters or special combinations. Tired of feeling embarrassed when you mispronounce words in English? You're not alone. Many learners struggle with the tricky pronunciation rules in English, especially when it comes to silent letters or unusual letter combinations. But don't worry, we're here to help you get it right. Example 1. The knight who never makes noise. Let's start with a word that's quite famous for its silent letter, night. It looks like it should be pronounced K-night, right? But actually, we don't pronounce the K at all. So it's just night. Tommy, look, there's a shining K-night in the sky. Emma, Tommy, don't you know? The K is silent. It's just night. The K in night, ni, no, and knife is always silent in English. Correct pronunciation. Night equals nate, sounds like night. Example 2. The psychologist who makes no sense. Now, let's talk about the word psychologist. This one is tricky because it starts with PS, which makes no sound at all. Imagine someone trying to say it like this. John, I want to meet with a psychologist. Lucy, John, it's psy, you don't say P. The P in psychologist, psychic, and psychiatrist is silent. So it's just psi sound, not PS. Correct pronunciation. Psychologist. Example 3. The subtle mistake. Here's a funny one, the word subtle. Many learners make the mistake of pronouncing the B like in subtly, but in reality that B is silent. So it's just subtle. Sarah, I have a very subtly feeling about this. Lena, wait, you're saying the B? No, it's subtle. The B is silent. Correct pronunciation. Subtle. Why does this happen? English has many silent letters, letters that are there, but you don't say them. They can make pronunciation difficult, especially for beginners. For example, listen, castle, and whistle all have silent T or silent S. This is something that isn't very common in other languages, so it's easy to make mistakes. Some letter combinations like ch, sh, th, or ph can also be confusing because they don't follow the rules of other languages. How to avoid the mistake. Listen to native speakers. The more you listen to native English speakers, the more you'll start to hear which letters are silent and how to pronounce tricky words. Watch movies, listen to podcasts, or find language exchange partners to practice with. Use a dictionary with pronunciation. Many dictionaries now show you the pronunciation of words, often with an audio option. This is great for checking how to pronounce a word correctly before saying it out loud. Repeat words until you get it right. Don't be afraid to repeat a word several times. If you hear a word you find tricky, pause, repeat it, and focus on getting the pronunciation right. Over time, it will feel more natural. A funny tip to remember. Imagine you're a knight in shining armor, standing in front of a psychologist, and feeling a little subtle about it all. Maybe that's why you're mispronouncing words. You're just too nervous. But don't worry, with practice, you'll sound like a pronunciation pro. Now let's practice. Question: can you fix the pronunciation of these words? Knife, should you say the K sound? Wrist, is there a sound for the W? Colonel, this one is tricky. What's the right way to say it? Castle, do you pronounce the T? Mistake number 4. Using prepositions incorrectly, like in instead of on or at. Prepositions are small words like in, on, at, by, for, with, and many others. They're tricky because their usage often doesn't follow the same rules in different languages. It's easy to make mistakes, but don't worry. Let's look at the most common ones and learn how to use them correctly. Example 1. In versus on the case of the table. Imagine your friend Ali is telling you about his weekend plans. He says, Ali, I'm going to put the book in the table. You, Ali, no, no, no. The book is not inside the table, it's on the table. Here's the problem. In means inside something, but on means something is resting on top of a surface. So, in this case, the book is on the table, not in it. Correct sentence. I'm going to put the book on the table. Example 2. In versus at the confusing meeting time. Let's imagine your friend Maria is meeting you for lunch, but she gets confused about the preposition. Maria, let's meet in the restaurant at 12 p.m. You, Maria, wait. We meet at the restaurant, not in it. The mistake here is that at is used when talking about specific locations like a place, a building, or an event. In is used for being inside a place. Correct sentence. Let's meet at the restaurant at 12 p.m. Example 3. The at versus on train station mix-up. Now let's talk about transportation. Your friend Jack is at the train station and he says, Jack, I'm at the train. You, wait. You're on the train, not at it. Here, the confusion happens because we use on when talking about being inside or on top of a vehicle, like a bus, train, or plane. You would use at when referring to a specific location, like a station or airport. Correct sentence. I'm on the train. I'm at the station. Why does this happen? Many languages use prepositions differently. In some languages, like Spanish or French, a single preposition can mean different things depending on the context. So, it's easy to think you can use in for all situations where you refer to a location, but in English, in, on, and at are used differently. For example, in is used for inside a space, in a room, in a country, in a car. On is used for surfaces on the table, on the wall, on a bus. At is used for specific places or events, at the party, at school, at the station. How to avoid the mistake. Learn the rules of each preposition. In inside something or for large spaces. On a surface or for transportation. At for specific locations, times, or event. Pay attention to context. Sometimes, just thinking about the context can help you choose the right preposition. Ask yourself, is this a specific location? Or is it a surface? Am I inside or on top of something? Listen to native speakers. Listening to native speakers will help you get a feel for how they use prepositions in real conversations. Watch TV shows, movies, or YouTube videos to hear how they do it. A funny tip to remember. Imagine this scenario. You're going to a party at the beach. You arrive, and the party is on the sand. But someone says, I'm in the sand, and you think, are you trying to swim in the sand? No. You are on the sand, not in it. Now let's practice. Question. Can you fix these sentences with the right preposition? I live in Paris, but I am going to meet my friends in the park. We should wait at the bus stop and then get on the bus. I am meeting you at the cafe on the corner. She is working at home, but she is going to the office on Monday. Mistake number 5. Not paying attention to the difference between singular and plural, using singular instead of plural and vice versa. In English, we have a big difference between singular, one, and plural, more than one. This is super important because using the wrong form can make you sound like you're talking about one thing when you actually mean more, or the other way around. So let's talk about this common mistake and how to fix it. Example 1. The mysterious peoples. Let's start with a funny mistake. Imagine you're talking about a group of people, and you say, Ollie, there are many peoples in the park. Wait, Ollie. Peoples is not correct here. You should just say people. Many learners think that the word people needs to be pluralized, but it's actually already plural. People is the plural form of person. We never say peoples, unless we are talking about different groups of people or cultures. Correct sentence. There are many people in the park. Example 2. The two child's mistake. Now let's imagine your friend Lena is talking about her kids, but she makes a mistake with child. Lena, I have two childs. Lena, no. The plural of child is children, not childs. It's a common mistake, but don't worry. The word child doesn't follow the regular rule of adding s to make it plural. The plural of child is children. Correct sentence. I have two children. Example 3. The one of the cat problem. Imagine you are telling someone about your pet and you say, John, I have one of the cat. John, that's not quite right. You need to say one cat instead of one of the cat. When we talk about a single thing, we don't need the article the with singular nouns unless we are referring to a specific thing that both people know about. Here, it's simply one cat, not one of the cat. Correct sentence. I have one cat. Why does this happen? In many languages, pluralization works differently. Some languages don't have to change nouns as much when making them plural, so it can be tricky for learners to know when to add the s or change the word completely. For example, child becomes children, not childs. And person becomes people, not persons. These changes don't follow the regular rule of just adding sto the noun, so it can confuse beginners. How to avoid the mistake? Learn the irregular plurals. Some nouns in English don't follow the usual s rule. For example, child children, man men, woman women, mouse mice. Practice regular plurals. For most nouns, just add s or vs for plurals. Dog dogs, apple apples, box boxes. Pay attention to articles and quantifiers. A is used for singular nouns, e.g., a book. Many, few, several are used with plural nouns, e.g., many books. Some can be used for both singular and plural, but pay attention to context. A fun tip to remember. Imagine you have a single cat named Fluffy. Fluffy has two cats that are his children. But when you talk about Fluffy and his two cats, you say, I have 3 cats, not childs. And if you want to say there are a lot of cats in the park, you just say many cats, not many peoples. It's easy to get confused, but with practice, you'll get it right. Now let's practice. Question: can you fix these sentences? Mistake number 6. Using adjectives and adverbs incorrectly, like wrong word order or using an adverb instead of an adjective. In English, adjectives and adverbs have very specific jobs. Adjectives describe nouns, things, people, places, and adverbs describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs, actions or how something is done. When we mix them up or use them in the wrong order, it can make our sentences sound funny or confusing. But don't worry, we'll fix that. Example 1. The beautifully teacher mix-up. Let's start with a simple mistake. Imagine you're talking about your favorite teacher and you say, Ollie, my teacher speaks beautifully English. Ollie, that's not correct. You should say, my teacher speaks beautiful English. Here's the problem. Beautifully is an adverb that describes how something is done, like speak beautifully. But what you really mean here is that your teacher's English is beautiful. In that case, you need to use beautiful, because it's an adjective that describes the noun English. Correct sentence. My teacher speaks beautiful English. Example 2. The 2 big red really cars situation. Now let's talk about word order. Imagine you're telling your friend about the cars you saw. You say, Mia, I saw two big red really cars. Mia, no. You should say, I saw really big red cars. In English, when we have multiple adjectives, they follow a specific order. Generally, this order is quantity, opinion, size, color, noun. So, we say really big red cars, not really red big cars. Correct sentence. I saw really big red cars. Example 3. I sing welly, oops. Here's another common mistake with adverbs. Let's imagine that you're talking about how well you sing. Ollie, I sing welly. No. The word is well, not welly. Many learners mistakenly add extra syllables to adverbs, like welly, but well is the correct form of the adverb. Adverbs don't usually end in oi, unless the adjective they're derived from ends in like quickly. So, you don't say welly, you just say well. Correct sentence. I sing well. Why does this happen? The confusion between adjectives and adverbs happens because many languages use the same form of a word for both. In English, though, we have to be careful with the ending of words. Adjectives usually don't end in ly, and adverbs do. Additionally, the word order of adjectives can vary in other languages, which is why we may mix them up in English. How to avoid the mistake. Learn the difference between adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives describe nouns, things, people, places. Example: beautiful, big, red, smart. Adverbs describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Example: quickly, beautifully, well, really. Follow the correct word order for adjectives. The order for multiple adjectives is usually quantity, opinion, size, age, color, material, noun. Example: two big old red wooden chairs. Watch out for ly words. Many adverbs end in ly, like happily, quickly, easily, but adjectives do not. Be careful not to use ly when you mean an adjective. Practice, practice, practice. The best way to get this right is to practice. Write some sentences with adjectives and adverbs, and ask a native speaker or teacher to check them. Over time, it will become second nature. A funny tip to remember. Imagine you're singing in a competition. You try to impress the judges by saying, I sing welly. They look confused and say, do you mean well or badly? It's funny because welly doesn't exist. Just say well. And for adjectives, think of a giant red apple. Would you say two red big apples? No. That sounds funny. Instead, say two big red apples. It sounds much better. Now let's practice. Question: can you fix these sentences? Mistake number 7. Incorrect use of personal pronouns, like using he instead of him. In English, personal pronouns are super important because they replace nouns, people, animals, things, in sentences. But if you don't use them correctly, it can confuse the listener or reader. Sometimes beginners make mistakes like using he when they should use him, or using I when they should use me. So let's talk about how to use these pronouns the right way. Example 1. He gave it to I. Oops. Imagine you're talking about something your friend did for you. Ahmed. He gave it to I. You, Ahmed, wait. You should say, he gave it to me. Here's the mistake. I is a subject pronoun used when the pronoun is the subject of the sentence, like I am happy, but you need an object pronoun after verbs like give. In this case, you should use me, not I, because me is the object of the action, the person who receives something. Correct sentence. He gave it to me. Example 2. She told he to stop. Oh? Now imagine you're telling a story about a conversation. Lena. She told he to stop talking. You know Lena. You should say, she told him to stop talking. In this case, he is a subject pronoun used for the subject of a sentence, but you need an object pronoun here. After the verb tell, you need to use him, because him is the object, the person being told to do something. Correct sentence. She told him to stop talking. Example 3. I saw they at the mall. Not quite. Let's imagine you're talking about some friends you saw at the mall. Mia. I saw they at the mall. You. Mia, it's almost right, but you need to say, I saw them at the mall. They is a subject pronoun, so it's used when they are the subject of the sentence, e.g., they are at the mall. But when they are the object of a sentence, we use them. Correct sentence. I saw them at the mall. Why does this happen? In many languages, like Spanish, there are different words for subject and object pronouns, and sometimes they can sound similar. However, in English, we have to use the right one depending on whether the pronoun is the subject or the object. It's easy to mix up I and me, he and him, or she and her. How to avoid the mistake? Remember the subject versus object pronouns. Subject pronouns: I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Example: I am going to the store. Object pronouns: me, you, him, her, it, us, them. Example: she gave me the book. Use the right pronoun after action verbs. When the pronoun is the object of the sentence, like receiving an action, you should use the object pronoun. He helped me, not he helped I. They called us, not they called we. Be careful with possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns, mine, yours, his, hers, theirs, ours, don't change for subject or object. Example: the book is mine, not my me. Practice with simple sentences. Start by practicing with easy sentences using subject and object pronouns, and pay attention to which one sounds right in different situations. A fun tip to remember: imagine you're playing a game where you have to use me instead of I when someone gives you something. For example, someone gives you a gift and you say, they gave it to me. You win a point. But if you say, they gave it to I, you lose the point. Now let's practice. Question: can you fix these sentences? Mistake number 8. Incorrect use of auxiliary verbs, like using do in questions and negatives. In English, we use auxiliary verbs, also called helping verbs, to form questions, negatives, and some emphatic statements. The most common auxiliary verbs are do, does, and did. These little words are very important, but many beginners make mistakes when using them, especially in questions and negative sentences. Example 1. You don't like ice cream? Oops. Imagine you're asking your friend if they like ice cream. Anna, you don't like ice cream? Anna, wait. It's almost right, but you should say, you don't like ice cream? Here's the mistake. After do or don't in the negative, we always use the base form of the verb, which means we don't add s for the third person. So, instead of saying likes, you should use like. Correct sentence. You don't like ice cream? Example 2. He didn't went to the party. Oh. Now, let's say you're talking about something your friend did or didn't do in the past. Khalid, he didn't went to the party. Oops, Khalid. You need to say, he didn't go to the party. Didn't is already in the past tense, so you don't need to use another past tense verb like went. Instead, you always use the base form of the verb after didn't, which in this case is go. Correct sentence. He didn't go to the party. Example 3. Do you can help me? Oops. Let's imagine you need help with something. Mina, do you can help me? Mina, that's not quite right. You should say, can you help me? In this case, can is already an auxiliary verb, so you don't need to use do before it. You should just say, can you help me? Correct sentence. Can you help me? Why does this happen? In many languages, the word order for questions and negative sentences is different from English. For example, in some languages, you don't need an auxiliary verb at all. But in English, auxiliary verbs like do, does, and did are necessary to form questions and negative sentences. How to avoid the mistake? In negative sentences, use do or does, did plus base verb. Correct. I don't like this movie. Incorrect. I don't likes this movie. In questions, use do or does, did plus base verb. Correct. Does she work here? Incorrect. She does work here? Use the base form of the verb after do. After do, does, and did, always use the base form of the verb. Correct. He doesn't like coffee. Incorrect. He doesn't likes coffee. Practice with simple sentences. Try practicing with simple questions and negative sentences, and pay close attention to the structure. For example, question: do you have a pencil? Negative: I don't have a pencil. Check for mistakes in daily conversations. As you practice speaking and writing, check if you are using do, does, did correctly. If you're not sure, ask a friend to help you or use an online grammar checker. A fun tip to remember: think of do, does, did like little helpers that work together with verbs to create questions or negative. It's like when you need help carrying something heavy. If you say, I can carry this alone, that's fine. But if you say, I don't carry this alone, you need your helper do to make it sound right. It's like teamwork. Now let's practice. Question: can you fix these sentences? Mistake number 9. Incorrect use of a and an, especially for words based on pronunciation, not just spelling. In English, a and an are indefinite articles, which means they are used to refer to things that are not specific or known. However, the rule for choosing between a and an is not about how the word is written, but about how it sounds. When to use a. A is used before words that start with a consonant sound. Examples: a cat, a book, a teacher, a dog. When to use an. An is used before words that start with a vowel sound. Examples: an apple, an hour, an idea, an umbrella. The key point is that it depends on the sound at the beginning of the word, not just the letter it starts with. Let's look at some fun and dramatic examples. Example 1. A honest person. Oops, not quite. Imagine you're telling a friend about a very honest person you met. I met a honest person yesterday. Teacher: wait, stop. You need to say an honest person. Why? The word honest starts with the letter H, but the H is silent. The word actually starts with the O sound, which is a vowel sound. So you need to use an, not a. Correct sentence: I met an honest person yesterday. It's a funny mistake because you're thinking of the letter H, but it's the sound that counts, not the letter. Example 2. An university. Oh, that's not right. Now, imagine you're talking about a place of higher education. She's studying at an university in London. Teacher: hold on. You need to say a university, not an university. Why? The word university starts with the letter U, but it's pronounced like Ju, which sounds like a Y, not a vowel sound. Since it starts with a Y sound, which is a consonant sound, we need to use a instead of an. Correct sentence: she's studying at a university in London. It's a small mistake that can make a big difference. If you use an here, it'll sound a little strange because of the pronunciation. Example 3. An hour. Great. You got it right. Here's a classic example with a word that's tricky because of how it's pronounced. I'll be there in an hour. Teacher: perfect. You're using an correctly. Even though hour starts with the letter H, the H is silent, so it actually begins with the vowel sound of. That's why we use an here. Correct sentence: I'll be there in an hour. How to avoid the mistake. Focus on the sound, not the spelling. If the word starts with a vowel sound, like apple, hour, umbrella, use an. If the word starts with a consonant sound, like cat, dog, teacher, use a. Listen carefully to the first sound. And goes with words that start with a vowel sound, apple, orange, idea. A goes with words that start with a consonant sound, car, tree, dog. Practice with these fun sentences. A car, a dog, a house. An apple, an umbrella, an orange. A university, an hour, a yellow pencil. Ask yourself, does the word start with a vowel sound or consonant sound? This simple question will help you make the right choice between a and an. Why does this mistake happen? In some languages, we might be used to looking at the first letter of the word instead of the sound. But in English, it's all about the sound, not the letter. When you hear a word, pay attention to whether the first sound is a consonant or vowel sound, and you'll know which article to use. A quick recap. Use a before words that start with a consonant sound, like cat, dog, university. Use and before words that start with a vowel sound, like apple, our, orange. Always listen for the first sound, not just the first letter. Don't worry if you make this mistake, everyone does. But once you get the hang of it, you'll sound much more confident and fluent in English. So next time you're talking about your day or telling a story, remember to listen carefully to that first sound. It can make all the difference. Now, let's move on to the next common mistake. Mistake number 10. Incorrect use of conditional sentences. Wrong if and tense order. Let's talk about conditional sentences. They're sentences that express a condition and a result. For example, if I study hard, I will pass the test. It sounds simple, right? But many English learners make mistakes with the word order or use the wrong tenses when forming these sentences. Don't worry. We'll go through everything step by step, and I'll even make it fun and easy for you to understand. What are conditional sentences? Conditional sentences are made up of two parts. The condition, the if part, and the result, what happens if the condition is true. The tricky part is knowing which tense to use in each part of the sentence. The four types of conditional sentences. 1. Zero conditional, general truths or facts. Structure. If plus presents simple, plus presents simple. Example. If you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. This type of conditional talks about things that are always true or fact. 2. First conditional, real possibilities in the future. Structure. If plus presents simple, plus will plus base verb. Example. If it rains tomorrow, we will stay at home. This one is for real possibilities in the future. The condition could happen, and the result is possible. 3. Second conditional, unreal or imaginary situations. Structure. If plus past simple, plus would plus base verb. Example. If I won the lottery, I would travel the world. This one is for imaginary or unreal situations, things that aren't likely to happen, but we wish they would. 4. Third conditional, past situations that didn't happen. Structure. If plus past perfect, plus would have plus past participle. Example. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the test. This is for situations that didn't happen in the past, and we regret it. You're imagining a different past if the condition had been true. Common mistakes with conditionals. Mistake number 1. Using the wrong tense order. One of the most common mistakes is mixing up the tenses. For example, wrong. If I will go to the party, I will see my friends. Correct. If I go to the party, I will see my friends. In the first sentence, you're using will in the condition after if, but that's not correct. If is followed by the present simple, not the future tense. So the correct sentence uses go, not will go. Mistake number 2. forgetting the second part of the conditional sentence. Sometimes learners only use the if clause and forget to add the result. For example, wrong, if I study. Correct, if I study, I will pass the exam. The condition and result both need to be included for the sentence to make sense. Mistake number 3. Using would in the condition part. Many learners make the mistake of using would in the condition part of the sentence. Wrong. If I would know the answer, I would tell you. Correct. If I knew the answer, I would tell you. The condition in the second conditional uses past simple, not would. Let's look at some fun examples. Example 1. If I will go to the party. You. If I will go to the party, I will see my friends. Teacher. Oops. You need to say, if I go to the party, I will see my friends. Why? We don't use will after if in the condition part. It's present simple in the condition go, not future simple will go. This can make the sentence sound strange and confuse your listener. Example 2. If I knew, second conditional. Let's imagine you're talking about a dream you have. You. If I would live in Paris, I would learn French. Teacher. Wait. You need to say, if I lived in Paris, I would learn French. In the second conditional, you use lived, past simple, in the if part, not would live. How to avoid these mistakes? Remember the tense order. 0 conditional. If plus presents simple, plus presents simple. First conditional. If plus presents simple, plus will plus base verb. Second conditional. If plus past simple, plus would plus base verb. Third conditional. If plus past perfect, plus would have plus past participle. Check the meaning of the sentence. Are you talking about a real possibility? Use first conditional. Are you imagining something that isn't true? Use second conditional. Are you talking about a past situation that didn't happen? Use third conditional. Don't use would in the condition. Remember, would goes in the result part, not in the if part. Practice with real-life examples. Think about situations in your life and create your own conditional sentences. This will help you get comfortable with the structure. Let's practice. Here are a few sentences for you to correct. Can you fix the mistakes? If I would study harder, I would pass the exam. If she speaks Spanish, she will visit Spain next year. If you eat too much, you would feel sick. If I had known, I will help you. If they will invite me to the party, I will go. Key takeaways. Tense order is very important in conditional sentences. Don't mix up tenses, e.g., using will in the condition part. Think carefully about what type of conditional you need, 0, first, second, or third. Practice, practice, practice. Now you're ready to use conditionals like a pro. Keep practicing and soon your sentences will be smooth and correct. In conclusion, learning a language requires patience and continuous practice. By understanding common mistakes and correcting them, you can improve your progress quickly and confidently. Remember, the road to mastering English is not always easy, but every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and never give up. With time and effort, you'll be able to speak and write fluently, just like a native speaker. Keep up the great work and remember, learning is a journey, not a race. Enjoy every step of it,